What's happening, people? Welcome back to the Rebel Recovery Podcast. I'm your host, Jack O'Connell, and on today's episode, I have my beautiful mother, Michelle O'Connell. Ma'am, thanks very much for coming on.
No problem, Jack. Delighted to be here today.
And the purpose of today's episode, lads, is to show the effect of addiction, what it has on family members and other people around them. So I wanted to bring my mum on to give her experience of my own addiction and to tell her story. So, ma'am, we'll take it back to the start, I suppose. What were the early days like rearing me?
They were brilliant. You were a lovely little kid. Always, out playing and always happy and healthy and never a bother. You were such a good child.
And like in my teen years, like it started getting different for me. Like, as I started drinking and as I started doing other things, when I went into secondary school, like I started getting violent then. The violence started coming. And as we talked about the situation with the young fella that I assaulted, like that was very, very difficult, like at that time for you, I know that. So there was a situation where I assaulted a young fella and the guards got involved and it got very serious. And I was brought in and they didn't know if he was going to make it or not. And they brought me in. I was only 15 at the time. And yeah, it was a very scary situation. And just give your kind of side of it and your experience from it.
No, it was because, we had no inkling of what happened until the guards knocked on the front door and, told us what was after happening. And, I just remember thinking, how is this even possible? Like, Jack, no way. Like, there's no way he could have done something like this. But yeah, it was I think that would have been our first experience actually with any guard coming to our door, because, we all my own kids were always very good, and you were at the time as well. Yeah, but it wasn't a very nice feeling, and especially to find out that, what was after happening to this other boy and how serious it was. That really, really scared me because we didn't know what the outcome was going to be.
Yeah, and as I said, like I was brought into the guard station and the guard sat me down and said to me, I was 15 at the time, he said, if that boy doesn't make it, you're going up to St. Pat's and you're going to be spending your life in prison, because they didn't know if he was going to make it.
That's right.
He had very serious damage to his head, to his back.
Yeah.
And he was actually in intensive care. So like that was a first display really of the violent side of me really. And the kind of what was to follow really in many ways in different patterns. But what I'd explained to you like is the drink and a lot of those things that I was doing at the time would have brought that out of me, and the emotions, as I said, that were going on. Because when I would have been in secondary school, like Danny, my close friend Danny Crowley, he would have died when I was in first year. Then Peter, I know I wasn't close with Peter, but there was a lot going on emotions wise. And a lot was going on inside me, and a lot was building up, and that anger started building inside me then. And like I would take a drink and I'd just lash out. I'd get emotional or I'd start crying. There was all these emotions going on for me. So I knew kind of myself that it was only going to get worse and worse. I could kind of see it, you know what I mean? The way I was behaving, getting into fights. Like we'd be going out drinking, bushing with the lads, and I'd always be the one getting into fights. And I'd always be the one, getting involved in something. And you always used to say that to me as well, walk away. But I was never able to walk away.
Yeah.
I was never able to, and as I said to you a while ago, like that would have kind of carried on then. And like the incident with Katie that time, my younger sister Katie, I have 3 sisters, and Katie came to me and she said this fella was after stopping her. He was harassing her, he was calling her this, he was threatening her. And I took it upon myself then. The school was only over the road from us, like.
Yeah.
So every lunch break I'd be coming home and I'd be getting my lunch at home and stuff like that. And as I was walking back then from the school on my lunch break, me and 2 of the lads walked past John Shop at the time, which is near the house, and we'd spotted him. And I just said to the lads, look, walk up around the road, like up around the corner, and I just called them around and look, I gave him a hiding. But I seen it at the time as it was for my sister, like, I didn't see any wrong in it. But obviously there was no writing that. And a lot of it was just a lot of patterns like that for me, man.
Yeah,
You know, there was a lot of kind of, I should have done this, but I done the opposite, do you know? So then I would have started taking drugs then about 19. So cocaine mainly. I would have been smoking weed from about 14, 15. I started smoking weed. Kind of, not regularly, but it would have been, do you know, recreationally, like. But I would have started taking cocaine then when I was about 18, 19. And obviously the lads that I grew up with, like Aaron, Keane, I had a good group of friends when I was growing up. But I would have separated from them from then as I grew.
I noticed
And
that. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
I fell in with a different crowd, and I would have been introduced to the party scene, and I would have been introduced to the drugs, and I would have been introduced to this and that. But when did you kind of notice the shift in me, and when did you kind of notice the change?
Oh, definitely. I think it was after the first incident, and then with what happened with Katie, that was another incident because I found out about that as well. But I did notice, like, because you were all very, very close with your friends when you were all younger, and I did notice they weren't coming around anymore. And I noticed, different friends were sort of coming around. And to be quite honest, I didn't even like the look of them. I was saying, where are your old friends? Where's everybody gone? Why are you with these people? But look, there's only so much that I could have said to you at that stage because you weren't going to listen to me anyway.
And like, what would have happened then is I would have got more and more involved in the drug side, and I would have, like, it kind of started out. I went to one of the lads, one of their houses, and we would have started taking it. And then what would have happened is, see, I was an addict and an alcoholic under it all, but I didn't know. This is all in hindsight now, like. But I started taking the drugs then, and what happened is I started relying on them. Whatever was inside me, that hole in the soul that I talk about, that every addict has, that hole that needs to be filled. What would have happened then is the hole inside me would have been chasing that drug and chasing the feeling that it gave me. And like anything, I had to go into it 100%. And I started selling it then. I started selling it, and I started getting involved with people, and I started getting myself into silly situations really at the start. It was all kind of, I wouldn't say innocent. There's nothing innocent about it. But it would have been fairly innocent compared to what was to come then. And what would have happened then is I would have started getting involved with other fellas. I was introduced to another fella, and I just started taking the drugs then, and just instead of selling them, I was taking them, and trying to blackguard your man, saying like, I'll have a for you next week. I'll have a for you next week. And then I would have gotten a situation then where I got involved with other fellas then, while being in debt to this fella, and I got in debt with these other fellas then. And what would have happened then is I would have got seriously assaulted that night. Remember, they called down to the house. So will you give your account of that night and what happened?
Well, to be quite honest, I don't know. I was so oblivious to it. I had no idea because, I didn't grow up around drugs. None of my other kids were involved with drugs ever. So I remember one night, I remember it distinctly because I remember I was watching the TV and I heard this massive bang on my front door. And I got up and I went out and answered. And there was 3 men in their 30s, 40s with balaclavas on them and baseball bats, asking me, where's Jack? And my first reaction was just total fear. I didn't know what they were going to do. And I told him, he's not here. He's not here. And they did say, well, tell him that we're after calling and that we'll be back. And I remember Katie at the time would have been what?
She would have been, 17?
17 at the time. And I remember her coming down and these 3 men standing at the door with balaclavas on, and the fear of her seeing this. But they left, and I remember closing the door, and I actually thought I was just going to fall on the floor. I actually couldn't believe what was after happening and what was at my front door. These 3 men with baseball bats looking for you, that will stay with me forever, I think. I don't think that will ever leave my, because I didn't grow up around that, and none of you grew up around that, you know. So it was just absolutely the most scariest thing I've ever witnessed in my life, and I'm being quite honest, you know.
And what would have happened then after was I would have got a phone call off them,
That's right.
and they said, if you don't come out and meet us, then we're going to go back to your mother's gaff.
Yeah,
And what would have happened then is I would have got Dad to bring me out,
yeah,
and Dad brought me out to meet them. And sure, I was begging your man on the phone, pleading with him. I said, look, please don't hurt me. Please don't do anything to me. I'll meet you and we'll try and sort this out. And he reassured me on the phone, nothing will happen. Just come out and meet us. It'll be all right. And I would have got out of well, I didn't even get out of the car. But we pulled up, and an Audi pulled up on us, and 4 of them jumped out with the balaclavas on. And by the time I even opened the door, the passenger door, to get out of the car, they were ripping me out of the car and battering me on the ground. And I remember I described this now on TikTok on a video, but I remember looking up at the sky and saying, like, this is it. They had weapons that I thought they were going to kill me stone dead, and I thought they were going to kill Dad as well, you know. But what would have happened then after that was just like, I would have got help, and we would have got the money cleared with them.
yeah,
You know, that situation got resolved.
yeah,
But what would have happened then was I was so trapped in that cycle that the insanity and the madness of it all, I just couldn't see a way out, and I couldn't get myself out of it. Whatever was going on, whatever hold that the addiction had on me was saying, no, you need to try and get more now, and you'll do it right now this time. You know, like, these are the mistakes now you're after making. Don't do them now again. Just get another lot and don't take it. That's what my brain tells me, like,
yeah.
you know. And as you know, like, I would have started going to the meetings when I was about 19, 20. After that would have happened, I would have started going to meetings, like. But what would have happened was, like, I was only going to them meetings to keep yourself and to keep Dad off my back, and just to say, look, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
But I was still hanging around the same crowd.
Yeah.
I was still doing the same things, and I was still in the same place. And that's the one thing that they say in recovery is people, places and things. You have to change those 3 things. You can't be around the same people. You can't be doing the same things, and you can't be in the same place. They're the 3 main things. And I was doing them all, and I didn't change it.
No, because I remember even Jade and Holly approaching me and saying, Mom, like, he's lying to your face. Like, he's not going to these meetings. He's not doing what he's meant to be doing. And I remember thinking, he's, oh my God, when I actually look back in it, I was so naive. I was so silly, really. And they were telling me he's not, like, he's still using, he's still doing the drugs. But to go back to a further point, what you were talking about earlier about all these fellas coming to the door and us getting the money together to pay them off. And, you know, I think it was
16
grand at the time. And, you know, we didn't have that kind of money. And I remember, like, my family and my ex-husband's family all coming together and trying to get this money together, because they were after threatening us to the point that I had to move out of my home and move in with my brother, all of us. And I was sleeping on a floor because they threatened that they were going to burn the house down. Like, I had 24 surveillance guards outside my door because my house was on high alert. Do you know? I was on these tablets that the doctor gave me because I couldn't cope. I couldn't cope with what was happening. And I remember we used to go out during the day and we used to go down by Ringaskiddy and just walk for hours in the freezing cold, because, you know, I didn't want to be staying in my brother's all day long. And then we used to go back at night and sleep on a blow-up mattress on the floor.
Yeah.
You know? And we got cameras installed. It was horrific. I just cannot describe how that affected me. I just can't describe it, because it changed me definitely as a person. It changed me because, you know, all these threats that they were constantly telling us what they were going to do, you know. And even when we did give him the money, I remember, you know, we weren't after even getting the guards involved at this time, and we gave him the money. And then 2 weeks later, there was a knock at the door again. Somebody else saying we owed them money. And that's when I got the guards involved. And that's when, everything then sort of changed from then on. They were there all the time. And I will say this, like, I'm not going to say names, but they were coming to me nearly every second day, knocking at the door, coming in, asking me, was I okay? Could they look at the cameras? But these fellas, like, were cute out. They had balaclavas on. They weren't stupid. Do you know what I'm saying? But, yeah, and then we had these other fellas coming back looking for more money. And then it was like, it just escalated again. So then I knew that you weren't out. I knew you were still in with it.
Yeah, and what would have happened was the different lads that were coming back, as I said, I would have been dealing with fellas first and then I changed over. But these fellas were coming back then because as soon as because they all knew each other. So as soon as the second lot were paid off, the first lot were saying, why is he paying them off and not paying us off? And that's where the pressure came from them then. And it was just a never-ending cycle, like. And no matter what I tried to do, I just couldn't get out of it. Because what would have been happening is they would have been saying, if you stop taking the drugs off us, or then this, that, the other. There was threats on that side as well. So it was kind of being stuck really in it, and then on top of the pressure, being addicted to the drugs. So like there was a lot going on my end.
We had to get you out of the country. You were out of the country for a year because they threatened to kill you. They were going to kill you, And this was ongoing. And I remember we sent you off to Lanzarote, and you were sort of staying in sort of places here and there, constantly changing over, because I remember you ringing all the time saying, Mom, they're outside the door. They're ringing me. They're telling me they know where I am. They're going to kill me. They told me they're going to shoot me. They're going to kill me. Like, I was back in Ireland, and I will never, ever forget the fear of, are they actually going to kill him? Are they actually going to find him and kill him? Because that was the threats that we were getting as well, that he's going to be killed. He's going to be dead. He can't hide from us. We're going to kill him. But when you came back from Lanzarote that time,
But just on a quick point there, I'll just say, like, while I was in Lanzarote, even that time, like, after all I was after doing to you, like, you would have still been sending me money every week.
I was paying for your accommodation. I was giving you money to live on, to feed yourself. Like, it was the basic, because we were afraid to give you any more than what we should have in case you were using drugs. But we knew that you were in they were like hostels that you were staying in. And you were constantly moving around. But every week I'd have to go down and put money,
The Western Union
for you to just basically eat, And
there were some days, like, I'd have to, like, there was a few lads I was over there with, and that I felt I got friendly with, and that looked after me while I was there, to be fair. I have to say that. Because if it wasn't for those lads, like Deco now and Jay and all them, that I would have met, I wouldn't have survived over there. They actually looked after me, and like Deco would get his stole, and he'd come and like he'd say to me, look, I'll take you out there now for something to eat. I'll bring you to McDonald's there now. Do you know, like, do you want to loan a €20 there now? I'll give it to you, no bother. Do you know? Because like the €80 would it was going for food and stuff. But then there would come a day then where I'd be struggling to get a bottle of water, and I'd be walking around Lanzarote and I wouldn't have nothing, and I'd be at this point then the threat was kind of gone, because it was all sorted back home. But still, I still was in I needed to be there. I needed to stay there for the length that I stayed there. And I would have came home then after 9 months. And what were you going to say about after I came home then?
Well, when you came home, we thought, this is it now, he's after learning his lesson. He's after, seeing that what these drugs are going to do if he goes back on them. And, they will kill him. They will definitely. He's after learning a huge lesson now. This is it. He can't go back. But you did.
Yeah.
You did go back on him again. And I remember again, my daughters approaching me and arguing and fighting with them, saying, he's not. But you were. And everybody, I think everybody at that stage, they all just turned their backs on you, because, we were after doing so much. Even your own dad at that stage didn't want to know you. But I just couldn't. I couldn't, because they were saying, you know, throw him out. He can't be bringing trouble to the door anymore. And I could totally understand their point. And it was so hard for me to tell you to leave, because I knew if I asked you to leave, that I was basically throwing you back into their hands again with the drugs, you know. So I was trying so hard to keep you at home, and like I could see it every day. You were just getting worse and worse and worse. And in the end, I just had to, and it broke my heart. I had to say, Jack, you're going to have to leave. I was at the lowest point at that stage, and I thought, I actually can't take this anymore. I can't take the fear of being in my home and having a knock at my door. I can't do it anymore. And I can't take it that all that I'm after doing for him, and he just threw it back in my face. So I just had to tell you leave the house at that stage.
Yeah, and I remember how hard that was for you as well. I could see it, but like the thing was like, as an addict, you need someone to keep enabling you. You need someone to keep. So say now you wouldn't kick me out. In my addicted mind, in my sick mind, that was my kind of claw onto my addiction. Because what would have happened was, as soon as you kicked me out, and as soon as you stopped enabling me, because I'm saying this for people out there who are, because I know, as I said to you a while ago, a lot of mothers reach out to me on TikTok, a lot of parents saying, my child is in addiction and they're enabling me, and I'm enabling them, and I don't know what to do. And I always tell them, just cut them off. As hard as it is, you have to do it as an addict, because as I'm saying to you, when I was in addiction, as much as I love you, when you're in addiction, you don't love anything except the drugs or the drink that you're looking for.
Yeah.
And that's just the end of the, do you know what I mean? And like, you're going to try and hold on to that. There's something inside you wants to hold on to the drink and hold on to the drugs, and you'll get it no matter what. And what would happen was you enabling me and saying, look, I'll give him another chance. That was actually keeping me on the hamster wheel, because I'd say, oh, look, at least I can go back to my mum's now.
Yeah.
Do you know, I'm sick there now the last few days from being partying the last few days. I can go back to my mum's now and I'll give her a sob story, and then she'll keep me there. But what would have happened was, when you said, get your bags and go, and you meant it, I had nowhere to go.
Yeah.
I had nowhere to go. I was reaching out to people that I would have called my friends at the time, people in addiction, and saying, I'm homeless, I've nowhere to go. And one of the lads would keep me here for a night, and I'd stay here for a night. But I was terrified, because I had nobody saying, look, enabling me, saying, look, you can come back, love, and it's all right. Like, that was gone. And I remember the fear inside me, and that's when things started coming to an end for me, because I realised, like, I'm on my own here now. And that was a scary thing. And I think, as an addict, for addicts out there, you need to come to that point of being isolated by yourself and no one enabling you anymore. That's when you kind of turn in and say, I need to fix something here. Something needs to change.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what would have kind of happened there, like. And what would have happened is, like, with the nuns there that time, like things just came to a head. Everything just fell apart for me. Like, that was just the end of the road for me with my addiction. Like what would have went on, just everything. Do you know, you know yourself, I can't really talk about that night. I'll leave that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like, it got everything just came to an end. Everything that was going on, and yeah, do you know, I just wanted to throw in the towel. And I remember yourself and Dad said to me, like, you need to go away and get help, like.
Yeah.
And there was still something inside me holding on, saying, come here, you'll be alright, you know, just keep doing what you're doing. You need the drugs, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I remember you saying to me, you need to go away. And Dad would have known about the nuns then.
Yeah.
And Dad would have said, look, ring them, like. And I remember ringing them, and I said, look, I'm in a bad way here, like, I need a bed, I need a spot. And they would have said, yeah, look, you'll be waiting a few weeks. And I remember my stomach just dropping, because I was just like, I don't have a few weeks left. That's the way I seen it. I didn't have a few weeks left. Like, I was just in this darkness at that time, that I was just finished with everything, and you could probably see it.
Yeah.
And I remember you saying that to me a few weeks into when I was in Blarney,
Yeah.
when I was up there for a few weeks. You said to me, what did you say? About, you said to me, you looked at me, you said, the anger that I saw in you,
Oh, yeah.
you were ready to kill
Oh,
someone.
you were. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, it was. It was actually scary because I didn't know who you were anymore. You were just so like lost, and no matter what I did, I knew that if you didn't get help, that you were going to die. I knew it, like that you were going to end up dead somewhere, or somebody was going to kill you, or But yeah, I think that was when it really sort of hit home, that I thought, you're actually going to end up killing somebody, Jack, with the anger that you have inside in you. You were so angry. And like that, only a few weeks into the nuns, I remember going out there. I used to go out there every single Sunday. And every single week, you were changing and changing for the better. And I always had it in the back of my head. Is he lying? Is he just doing this? Is he just pretending because I'm coming out on a Sunday and he's putting all this on? But no, I could see it as time went on. Then it was just, oh my God, it was just fantastic. Just to see the change, and to see you, and to see even your, in yourself, your skin, everything. I remember again, my kids going, Mom, you don't know, he could be still. I said, he's not. I know myself by even looking at him. You know when somebody is healthy, and you know when somebody is taking. Do you know what I mean? But no, that was, to me, I thought, oh my God, like, I have him back. I thought I would never have you back again. I thought you were gone and that was it. But yeah, to those nuns, I mean, oh my God, I just can't praise them enough. I love all those nuns. They are just angels to me because, they brought you back, basically. And you did a lot of work yourself, and I know that. But to have that platform there to go to with them at that time, it was like, it was meant to happen.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
And what would have happened there is, when I went in there first, I kind of realised, like, this is my last chance. Like, I have there's nowhere to turn. There's no one to turn to. It's now or never. I had that feeling when I was in there. And what would have happened was, after a few weeks, I kind of realised after the first week, I was like, I need to put in a bit of work here now, right? I need to start doing what they're telling me to do.
Yeah.
Like praying. And what would have happened then is, my addict's brain would have kicked in, and I started getting addicted to the praying. I started getting addicted to going down to mass. I started getting, they were getting me to do the readings.
That's
and I'd be going up and
right.
asking them, can I?
Yeah,
I'd
I
be
used to go out
asking,
every Sunday morning. I used to be on the road for like 7:45 to get out there for the mass in Blarney, just to see you doing this reading, because I was just so proud of just even seeing you do that. You know what I'm saying? That to me was just fantastic,
And what would have happened is, like, I started practicing the readings in the chapel.
Yeah.
And like, it was just, I just speaking loudly, out loud. I would have never done that before, like, spoke out in front of people like that. And yeah, everyone kind of said to me after, come here, you sound unreal. Like,
Yeah.
you have a talent for that. And I was like, okay, like, they're probably just being nice to me now, like, saying that. And I would have approached Dave there. He kind of organises the Blarney, the readings for the church. And I would have approached him. I said, Dave, I'm actually interested in doing the readings. And I started doing them then. And sure, he was sick of seeing me then after a while. Like, I must have done about 10 or 11 of them when I was up there, like.
Yeah.
But I would have spent a few months up there, and yeah, it was just the best experience of my life, like. And as we said, like, you used to come up every Sunday. You'd come up, and that meant the world to me, like, because I said it on the last podcast, like, I would have seen lads who were up there who had nobody to come up, and that's heartbreaking, like, when you're in that situation with nobody to kind of come up, and you can see these lads getting better in themselves,
Yeah.
but no one coming up to kind of And that would set you backwards,
Of
like,
course it would.
you know,
of
because there's
course.
no one to kind of
Yeah.
say, you're doing great here,
I
like.
know.
Because myself and Adrian spoke on the last podcast and we said, like, someone reassuring you that you look fantastic.
Yeah.
You look great. Because us as addicts, we're so self-critical, like I'll always not put myself down, but that'll always be there, that you always kind of criticize yourself more.
Yeah.
But it's until someone kind of says it to you, look, you look fantastic, or you look a lot healthier. That's when you kind of start feeling it in yourself early on.
Yeah.
And then when I heard that then, and when I started hearing it from other people, I started feeling it then.
Yeah, and you get your confidence. That's, you get
Yeah.
your confidence back. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And
Yeah.
that's what happened. And yeah, I've been, you know, I'm coming up on a year now in a few weeks, like, and like we'll talk about the Medjugorje trip there now as well.
Oh, yeah.
So we went to Medjugorje, the two of us. What was that? What was your experience?
Oh my God. It's something I'll never forget. It was one of the best experiences of my life. It was just not alone going there, to see the Holy Land itself, but, just to go with you, me and you, just the two of us, And sort of in the back of my head, I was sort of thinking, we'll probably kill each other. But we got on fantastic. For the 8 days that we were there, we hadn't had a bad word to say. And, we were doing our walks every day and going to mass every day. It was like, we're planning to go back again next year in April, please God. But that to me, that will stay with me for the rest of my life. That was just fantastic.
What was your best kind of memory? What comes to mind, like?
Of being there, of just you, seeing you, just being Jack again. That I thought that I had lost a long time ago, Just seeing you happy, seeing you, going into the church, and, how deeply you love the church and praying and you know what? It's sort of years, I fell out of church a long time ago as well. And it brought me back to, oh my God, like this is so beautiful. Do you know what I'm saying? And that peacefulness and that calmness that would come over you. So for me, just seeing you, how much you were after coming, how far you came from where you were. That to me was just priceless. That just made it for me, really,
Yeah,
it really did.
Especially like the first day when we landed and we went up the Apparition Hill that first day.
That's right.
But like I'll always remember that because like I'd always heard about it, like Mary being the statue of Mary at the top of the hill, and like the feeling of being there. And then I remember we were going up the hill and I had my arm around you.
Yeah.
You had your arm, we were interlocked, like, and I was just, it kind of all came to me then.
It did,
that like God is after healing me, and that Mary like is after bringing me and you here to reconnect our relationship for the greater good, like, and to bring us back together, like. And I think that's so what it done, like.
And it did, because I'm just so proud of you and how far you're after coming. And, I look at you now and I'm thinking, oh my God, like, wow, like, look how far you're after coming to where you were.
Here on my podcast.
It's just brilliant. So there is hope for other people out there, and it is very hard as a parent to see your child going through this and trying your best to guide them and help them, but you know that you can't. You can't, because it's up to them to fix it themselves. And it took me a long time to realize that, to the point then where I did have to leave you go, and that was the best choice I ever made, was letting you go that day. Broke my heart, but you're here today now and you're a totally different person.
And that's what I was going to say to you, Mum. Like, what would be your advice now to any mother out there if their son is going through addiction? What would be your advice straight up?
Oh, straight up, let him go. Let him go. I mean, oh my God, like, you're my only son. And they always say, oh, mammies and their sons,
I'm the biggest mammy's boy there is.
Do you know what I mean? But that broke my heart at the time to do what I had to do, because you had nobody else, only me. And for me to do that really broke my heart, to, ask you to leave. But now sitting here, I should have done that way sooner. I should have done it way sooner, because I couldn't help you. And I thought I could, but I couldn't. It's only now I realise you needed to do that yourself. And the only way for you to do that was for me to let you go. So just let them go. Doesn't matter where you are, what they're doing, how much they beg you to, not do it. Just let them go. Because if you don't, there will be no coming back from this. You have to cut all ties completely to let them realise that they're on their own, and that's it. There's nobody left, So that was the best thing I ever did.
Definitely, and that's what they kind of say. Like, if you love something, you have to let it go, like, and it'll come back, like.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just, it is hard, because as a mother or as a father, leaving your child go, as you said, you're leaving them go back into the arms of addiction, into the darkness.
Yeah.
And you don't know if you'll ever get them back.
That's true.
Do you
That's
know?
so true. And I didn't know that. I didn't, but I knew myself that I was making myself very ill as well at the time. I was on all these tablets. I just couldn't cope. I just couldn't cope that I couldn't help you. I couldn't cope with that, that I was there. Like, I'm your mother. I'm meant to protect you, but I couldn't help you. And it came to the point where all my kids weren't even speaking to me because I was in contact with you. And I thought, I can't lose my other kids here, And that's when I think it just hit me, just let them go. And I had to do that. And I'm just so glad that I did that.
And what you were saying there about the illness, so we'll take it back a few years there. So remember the time when you got cancer that time. What was your kind of experience there? And talk about that a small bit, because I remember that was kind of a shock to me when I was a young fella.
Well, yeah, it was sort of a bit of a shock to me as well, to be quite honest, because at the time I wasn't sick. There was nothing wrong with me. It was just, I thought I was just going through menopause, and we were in holidays in Portugal with all my family and all my sisters and everything. And, I remember woke up during the night and I had a really, really bad bleed. And I remember the next morning my sister saying, go away, you're fine. That's the start of the menopause. Don't be worried about that. And my daughter Jade, my eldest daughter, was there at the time, and she was heavily pregnant. She was like, Mom, please, you're going to have to go to the doctor. And I remember coming back, and Jade came with me. And straight away I was sent to the St. Finbarrs, up to the clinic there. And I think it was over a week later, I was operated on. I was told I had ovarian cancer. And I remember Jade sitting there, because we thought, it was just a letter to go up and, get results. I did not realise that I was going to be told that day that I had cancer and that it was really bad. I remember saying to the specialist, but there's nothing wrong with me. I said, I'm not sick. I'm fine. And he was saying, Michelle, that's why they call it the silent killer. And I remember going in, and I remember trying to be so strong. I remember I didn't tell my mother till actually 2 years after the cancer, And I remember telling her I was going into a hospital to have an operation, but she had no idea, because I didn't want to worry anybody. I wanted to just get this done and get better, and that was it. But it did have a knock-on effect, on yourself and my other kids, because I was trying to be so strong for me and for everybody that I was in total denial of what was actually happening to me, So, yeah, it took me a good couple of years to get over that and get back on track. But,
And
I did it.
what would have happened as well, what I kind of noticed was you became, at the start after your surgery, you were taking these sleeping tablets to help you cope. But what would have happened?
Yeah.
What would have happened is you kind of became reliant on them then.
I did. Because like that, I went straight into the change when they took everything, my womb, my ovaries, they took everything. So instead of going naturally into the change, your body, everything was taken away. So your body it's not right, So, and I remember they couldn't give me anything for months after, because I wasn't cancer clear at that stage. So not only was I trying to deal with what was the operation over the cancer, but I was also bang in the middle of this change that my whole world was turned upside down. So I couldn't cope with anything. And I remember going to the doctor and I couldn't sleep, and he gave me sleeping tablets. And I was on those sleeping tablets for exactly 8 years. So I was addicted to those sleeping tablets. Now, there's a lot of people out there that I've talked to, and if I was in work and stuff, and they're, oh yeah, sure, we take them, and I take them, and this person takes them. But for me personally, it was my daughter said to me, Mom, like, you're gonna have to knock this in the head. It's 8 years, you're addicted, and like that, I remember thinking, oh my God, I actually am. So it took me 3 horrible nights of nightmares. These scary, oh my God, it was horrible for 3 nights. And I just went cold turkey and just stopped taking them.
And what would be your advice to people out there, because I know a lot of people, the sleeping tablets are a silent killer out there for people. Like,
oh, they are, yeah.
And they're not talked about. Like, people are very reliant on things to sleep.
Oh my God, I could even drink, and even, if I didn't have a sleeping tablet, I would not be able to sleep. Not a hope. Like, I had to have these tablets no matter what. You know what I'm saying? Or highly addictive. But at the time, I didn't realize. I just thought, oh, I just need to sleep, But no, I was heavily addicted to those sleeping tablets. No, I was.
And I remember seeing it, because there was a few nights where you would either run out of the tablets, or you wouldn't know where they were, and you could see the change in the anger in you. You'd panic.
Anger, like, oh my God, I have to. What am I going to do? Sheer panic, because I knew if I didn't have that tablet, I knew I wasn't going to sleep that night. Basically, do you know what I'm saying? So, as I said, when I listened to my daughter and she said that to me, it really hit home, and I thought, oh my God, Michelle, what are you doing? And just 3 days, 3 nights, and that was it. Never looked back since, and that was over a year ago.
Yeah. In fairness to you, you're after coming a long way in that sense.
Yeah, definitely.
And health-wise, you look great. You're doing great, and
thank you.
We have a great bond today, like.
Fantastic. No,
we really do, like.
No, we do.
And we're very similar, Mum.
Yeah, we
don't get me wrong, we get on, but when we don't get on, we don't get on.
Oh, I know. We're actually like twins.
We're like twins.
Yes, we are. We have the same temperament. Everything. Like, if I say something and you get odd, then I get odd. Then you say something that it's just hilarious. It is when you think about it, because we're so similar. It's actually scary. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, here we are now today, sitting here doing this. Whereas, like, it's just fantastic, because every single day you're changing and you're growing. And so, like, this is just proof that there is hope, and, people can do this, like, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And in my case, as I said, like, you had to let me go on the addiction.
Yeah.
But in early recovery, you were the one who picked me up.
Oh, yeah.
And you came out to me every week. And, like, the lads and the nuns used to slag me, because you'd come up every Sunday and you'd bring up a big shopping bag full of food. And I'd have to bring it in then. And one of the nuns said it to me one day. She said, come here, what's the story with all the food? I had a stock shelter full of food. She was saying, are you, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
I said, yeah, look, my mum brings them up every week.
Yeah.
Sure, I didn't eat half it. Like,
I know.
Used to bring up a big shopping bag.
I know, every single, I used to do it on the Saturday or the Sunday morning before I came, but I'd always, put in the cookies, all the good things, because I'd be thinking, well, he's not going to be having dinner now. What if he doesn't have this? At least he'll have that. But look, that's just me anyway, a feeder, do you know what I mean?
And me and Derek, when I'd come in with the shopping, Derek would say, did she get the cookies? Derek would say, did she get the cookies now?
Yeah.
Come on. I'd look through the bag then.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, she didn't get the cookies, Derek. But no, but look, and I made a lot of close friends up there.
Oh, you did, yeah.
And what would have happened up there, like, as you talked about a while ago, the nuns, like,
oh my God,
the love that they gave me, like, don't get me wrong, you always gave me so much love. You always gave me what you could. But what I would have found when I was young, was it was kind of like emotionally unavailability. You were always so busy.
Yeah, that's
You were
true.
always so caught up in going to work, in feeding us, in doing something, that there was no kind of point for me to say, I have to, can I talk about this?
Yeah.
Can I talk about that?
Yeah.
Like none of us, like me, Jade, Holly or Katie, were ever able to like express ourselves. Do you know what I mean? We were never actually able to say, look, we'll sit down here now and talk about this.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
There was never any kind of availability that way. And when I went to the nuns, that's when I learned how to speak about how I'm actually feeling and not react to things.
I know what you're saying.
Because there would have been a lot of that when I was growing up. I'd see it in you, like, and I'm not faulting you. As I said, you always done your best. But I'd see the anger and the reactions, and you'd, instead of talking about something, you'd react to it.
Yeah.
I seen a lot of that, like, and monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah.
And I
yeah.
carried that on myself. But what would have happened when I went into the nuns was I started speaking about things and expressing my emotions and expressing how I'm actually feeling, and everything changed.
Yeah.
Everything changed because I started internally healing then. All the things that we talked about here now today, the assault, the guards, going to jail, all the people calling to the door, all the hurt and harm over the years started to heal.
Yeah.
Because as all this was going on, I was holding myself responsible for all this inside, and I was blaming myself, and I said, the guards are at my mother's door all the time, these people are calling it. That guilt was eating me alive. Even if I didn't show it, I'd hide it in my addiction.
Yeah.
And I'd want to take more and more drugs to hide it. And the more and more drugs I took, the further away it got. But then what happens then with the drugs is you need to take more and more, and they stop working. And it's just a constant cycle of it's not working anymore.
Yeah.
And it gets to a dangerous point then where you're taking so much that you're actually at risk of dying. And there was a few times where I nearly died, like, from taking drugs. Like, remember that time I came in, I would have been missing for a few days that time.
Oh, yeah.
And I came in the door and I was sitting down and I was having heart palpitations.
That's right,
And
yeah.
I thought I was going to die, like.
Yeah, I remember trying to calm you down, and then I was panicking because I thought, oh my God, I actually thought you were going to have a massive heart attack, because I just didn't know what to do. I remember your dad saying he's after being taken that stuff. That's what's making him like this, because look at him, his heart is racing over it, you know, and back up to the hospital again. And it was like a constant thing that at that stage with you as well, up and down to the hospital all the time, you know.
Yeah. And more so, like, they'd always say to me, we don't know what's wrong with you, and the tests would always come back all right.
That's right. Yeah.
So it was the panic attacks and the anxiety of like coming off the drugs. I would go into complete shock and my body would start panicking. So that's what would happen, and my heart rate would go through the roof. And then I'd think I'm having a banger here.
Yeah.
And I'd go up to the hospital and they'd be like, your bloods are all right, your heart is grand, you're not having a heart attack. And I'd be kind of saying, what's wrong with me? So, like,
Yeah.
you know, but I know today in hindsight that it was the drugs.
It was, yeah.
You know, and yeah, do you know, it's just a blessing to be where I am now today, Mum. Do you know, and being here with you, as I said, and being on my own podcast and
Yeah.
trying to grow this now going forward. And I have a lot of exciting guests coming there now in the next few months as well, and build it as much as I can and try. It's to help someone else as well.
Exactly.
And that's the main difference with me today, Mum, is I was always kind of selfish, especially in my drug taking. I was always selfish, and I didn't care about anybody else once I was sorted. Once I got my drink or my drugs, I didn't care about anybody else. But today, I care about other people. And today, all I want to do is help other people. Because when I help other people, I help myself at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because what I give out, me and Adrian talked about this the last day, what I give out comes back to me 100-fold.
Yeah.
When I don't expect it, when I'm doing something good for someone, I don't expect anything back. But I know it will come back. In some shape or form, God will provide me with what I need
Yeah.
for doing his work. And I fully, you know yourself, I'm very, very deeply into the church
Yeah.
and into God, because I believe fully that I would not be here if it wasn't for him. And he's after giving me the second chance that we talk about.
Yeah.
Like, I was in the depths of it, man. And the only way to describe how I got out of that was God. Nothing else, like. because how else would you explain it?
I've seen it. I know exactly what you're saying. I've seen that. I've been there. I've seen it.
And
know
as
what
you
I'm
said a
saying?
while ago, like the nuns,
Yeah.
like it's a charity house.
Yes.
So God put that house there for free with nuns,
Yeah.
right? And when I needed it the most, they were there.
They were there.
It was like God invited me in and said, I'll look after you.
Yeah.
I'll shelter you. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
And what happened inside that house then, I would have just got closer and closer to God. And in turn, closer and closer to myself. And then closer and closer to yourself.
Yeah.
To Dad, to Katie. Me and Katie have a great relationship today.
Yeah.
Me and Katie are like chalk and cheese. We really are, like, and like I'd be going into her there now and we'd be having like DMCs discussions, like, and we'd be talking for about an hour. And
Yeah.
she'd be like, we'd just talk about anything.
Yeah.
Do you know?
But that
And
was a traumatic time as well for Katie because she was only so young at the time. And that was a horrible time for her as well to see all that happening, you know. So, yeah. But look where we are now. So,
100%, yeah.
and as I said, and you said earlier about any parent out there, the best advice I would is just leave them go, let them go, because it's the only way. It's the only way to get them back is to just let them go.
Yeah,
And
so
that's it.
I'll just give a fast shout out to our sponsors for today. So it's the Old Mill Confectionery again. So my good friend Danny Buckley, thanks very much for sponsoring, Danny. Get yourself a hands on some cakes, lads. If you can get them in any shop in Ireland, they are the best cakes in Ireland. They're the freshest cakes. Have you ever tried them, man?
Yeah.
They're unbelievable, lads.
Beautiful.
They're
Yes.
unbelievable. So go and get your hands on some Old Mill Confectionery cakes. This is your sign to get them, lads. Thanks very much, Danny. Old Mill Confectionery.
Thank you so much, Jack, for bringing me on. And look, thanks everybody, whoever's going to listen to this, because, you know, it will in the end save a lot of lives. Believe you me,
Yeah.
I've been there and done it. So yeah, well done, Jack.
Look at where we were and look at where we are now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you.